We have a problem. Oregon's tax structure is extremely volatile, and it threatens our children, our families, our most vulnerable people. We need to change our tax structure, but we need to work together to do that, to come up with a solution that will work for everyone and that we can all live with. Oregon's taxes, our economy is more volatile than the nation. And one of the things we know is that a one-sided solution won't work. Take Measure 97, for example. A ballot measure was submitted to the ballot. Do you know how much it cost to fight that at the ballot box? $47 million. How many teachers would that pay for? How many people could get prescriptions with that money? It is just ridiculous when we spend money this way, and the one-sided solutions do not work. We need to come together to work out solutions that will make sense. Why would we want to go down that path again? I think it's really critical that we look for a new path, a new way to come up with solutions together. Oregon's economy is more volatile than the nation's. We tend to grow faster during good times and decline further during bad times. And our tax structure is even worse. We've made it more volatile because of the way it is set up. So our revenues go up faster than the economy and they decline faster. And the reason is that we're very dependent on income taxes. In fact, Oregon's taxes, about 40% come from income taxes. For the average state, only about 23% comes from income taxes. And for many states, they have a sales tax, which represents about 23% of their revenues. In Oregon, we don't have a sales tax. Furthermore, our income tax rates and capital gains tax rates are really high, which in order to make up and build up enough revenue for our needs. And that discourages entrepreneurs and growth companies from locating in Oregon. We also have a kicker law. And with the kicker law, we're not able to build up reserves during good times to carry us through during the bad times. So our general revenue funds are extremely volatile. They drop a lot during recessions and downturns, and we haven't been able to use all of our resources available to bring those, to help through those times. It is very important when we look at tax reform that we do it in conjunction with cost containment. It doesn't make any sense to not evaluate where we can save money on our budget as well as how we can stabilize and increase revenues. If you're looking at tax reform principles, there are a number of things we're going to need to talk about. It's important that they are broad-based and that we do not select or pick favorites among industries. It's important to have a level playing field among competitors within the same industries. Consider the impact on low-margin businesses. That's important too. And then we want a tax structure that promotes job and wage growth, because we know that the best way to fund our public services is with a healthy, strong economy. So we have two promising options that we've been looking at. One is kicker reform. We can reform the kicker so that during good times, we can build a revenue source that can help us in the bad times. 61%, according to recent research, 61% would support kickers, having the kicker go to a rainy day fund for K through 12 schools. And if we do this carefully, we can help build up a reserve fund while still honoring the intent of voters when they did pass the kicker laws to keep runaway government spending during the good times, and we can support our essential programs during the bad times with reserve funds. In addition, a business activities tax is another proposal. Now, you're probably familiar with a gross receipts tax, and what it does is it taxes at total revenues for companies. The business activities tax starts with total revenues, subtracts out purchases from other businesses, and then that becomes the base to be taxed on. And there are many advantages to a business activities tax compared to a gross receipts tax. First, it doesn't disadvantage Oregon companies who are part of the supply chain of other Oregon companies, and so we're not disadvantaging them. It doesn't have that pyramiding that happens at every level of the supply chain when you have a gross receipts tax. It's a better tax for low-margin businesses because it takes into account a little better their cost structure. So those are proposals that we are going to be looking at later today, and we have a session that is actually at the end of the day. It's just before happy hour, so maybe the timing will be good. So one of the things that we've mentioned over and over in this program is that we want to make targeted investments to improve health outcomes and education outcomes. And we believe that revenue increases must be paired with cost containment so that we are able to make improvements in our education systems, our healthcare, and our other essential services. We also want to have a comprehensive approach. I mean, from a business perspective, it's very important that we look at the impact, the cumulative impact of carbon taxes, healthcare taxes, and taxes for education, so that we can understand how they all fit together and impact our businesses and our households. I was recently on a best practices trip to Colombia, and it was a phenomenal trip. We learned so much about how that country is coming back from such a horrible decades of violence and murders, kidnappings, living in fear for most of their people. They have come together to try to create a new future, a brighter future for their country and for their people. And it was just phenomenal to me. It just struck me so much how far they've come, and they have a lot fewer resources than we do. And they've still managed to collaborate and work together to create a new future for their country. If they can do it, even with their history of hostility and danger and violence, why can't we? We need to make sure that tax reform proposals are widely vetted so that everyone has a chance to weigh in and understand the implications for them. Led by the governor and the legislature, we still need to do collaboration between Democrats and Republicans, between the labor unions, including the business community, including local community leaders and community leaders at all levels. It is just essential that we collaborate when we come through and try to make a major transformation like this, because otherwise, we're back stuck doing what we've always done, which is have one-sided proposals, fight it out at the ballot box, spend millions of dollars on expensive and ultimately damaging ballot campaigns. Let's find a new way. We need to find a new way to come together and solve some of these problems so that we can create a better future for our children and for our communities and for our state. I want to challenge all of you to think about how you can be involved. Contact your legislators, be engaged, learn about the issues. You can join us. Go to brighteroregon.com. Go to the website, sign up, get updates, communicate with your legislators. All of that can make a difference. We need to all pull together to make sure our voices are heard and that we come together with solutions that will work. Because the question we have to ask ourselves is, when are we going to solve these issues? When are we going to take the hard steps, the uncomfortable steps that it will take for us to come through this crisis in our state budgets and make sure that we can fund our communities, we can help every part of our state to a brighter and more prosperous economy. Thank you very much.